And, well, Louis wasn't supposed to be born yet. His nails were not hard. They were like liquid, and his head was up in a point like that. They had to press it down and get it in shape. But your dad, oh, he was big, fat. And I told him, I said, when he was born, somebody said, put an apron on him and put him back in the bar over there, because he just looked like his dad exactly. And said, just put an apron on him and put him back in the bar, because he could pass for his father. But it was hard raising the 5 kids I had here, because all of my husband's family were here, and they all resented me being here.
They all grew up in this house?
Not all of them. They used to live in Donahoe Station. Do you know where Donahoe is? Past the Catholic cemetery, out that way.
Yeah.
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 That's where they were all mostly born. And I don't know, I think maybe Carrie was born here. Maybe.
But they grew up here, right?
Yeah, but they grew up here, and this was their house. And when their dad was 38 years old, he died and left 2 girls, 5 boys, and your grandfather, my husband, was the oldest, about 13 years old, and he was working down Kelly and Jones. They called it then. It was a Walworth. The Walworth bought it over.
Yeah.
And he was hardly tall enough, because he was a short guy anyhow. He wasn't big like your dad. He was short, a little bit taller than me maybe. And he could hardly reach the shelves. They had him, because the family they had no money. They didn't have all these beneficiary things like they have now.
Right.
And the grandmother, my mother-in-law, she went and asked different politicians for some kind of help, for the bills and food and clothes. And I said, well, you can't, because you own the house. If you don't own any property, and then maybe they can help you out. And you know what she told them? She said, am I going to set my kids on the corners to eat the house? They still have to have food. They still have to have clothes. My owning the house, it doesn't help me to get them clothes and pay the bills. And so anyhow, they got along. They used to take in washings and ironings, and they used to manage. Oh, my husband's mother had a lot of boarders. She had this kitchen, and that was the living room. They had a fireplace in there. Gas lights, but the fireplace. And that was her bedroom. And upstairs they had it filled with boarders. And she used to wash their clothes, cook their meals, and clean the room. And all 3 rooms. And they used to pay her, and that's how she got paid her bills and bought clothes and food. And then most of the boarders left. Some got married. They just come over from the old country. They didn't know anybody or where to go or what to do. So they stayed with people they knew. And she had a bunch of boarders here. But then they gradually went on their own as they got more acquainted with the area. Some got married if they were young. And she rented this room up here. Was the kitchen. They had it fixed up like a kitchen. And my bedroom, was the bedroom. And the bathroom is where they got their water. But they had a stove up here, and that's how my mother-in-law raised her family. And then the younger girls, not Carrie, she never used to go to work nowhere because she was the baby of the family. But Mary used to wash and clean for Dr. Hamilton, who used to be up here. I don't know if you remember him, in this big brick house up the corner. Dr. Hamilton's family. And she used to go up there and they used to pay her. And they used to give them a lot of stuff too. You know, what they had extra of. Well,
So you met your husband one.
well, I was 6 years old over there. Oh, when did I meet your father? He had an older gang, more his own age,
Yeah.
that he used to run around with. So then he started asking me out, and we went to movies and things. Gradually, Mary's husband, Dominic, and Mary, and the grandmother here walked up them steps over there and asked my father if we could get married. Well, we had been going out riding, you know, and movies and getting snacks here and there and to eat, and we had been going out.
What they call dating nowadays.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Courting.
And so then Dominic and Mary and her mother, the three of them, they came up those steps on the porch there, and we were sitting in the living room, and he used to buy me gifts like a wristwatch and a necklace, and she was my godmother, Mary was, when I got confirmed.
Okay.
And she gave me a ring. I lost all of them now. I don't know what became of them. So that's how we got together.
Do you know how old were you when you got married? Do you know?
21.
21?
And he was 29.
Okay.
So he was 8 years older. But he had an older crowd that he used to run around with.
Yeah.
But either they moved away or he wasn't interested. He just didn't want to get married. He just wanted to take care of his mother. Even after we were married, he used to sit on her lap and hug her and kiss her and sing to her. They used to have just like you'ns over with your dad playing guitars and mandolins and things like that. When we got married, we never even went for a honeymoon. We had the dinner right here, went to church, come down here and had stuff to eat and drink, and that was it. Because I don't know if they were on strike down at the Walworth or something had happened. We didn't go for honeymoon. We went for trips later to Erie and to Detroit, Michigan, where an older brother of my husband's.
Well, you would have been in your 20s during the 30s.
I was 21 when we got married, yeah. But when I was a teenager, gee, we used to go, all those bands that used to come, they had the rink up there, the Coliseum, they called it the skating rink or something, someplace uptown, I don't know now just exactly where. And big bands used to come there, and we used to go to their different houses, you know, of our friends, my girlfriends. And one time women didn't used to smoke at that time. And we were at this house. I never did smoke. I never did pick it up, but there were a couple girls there, and some older ladies came in the room, and they threw their cigarettes under the bed, and then they were down there on their knees, you know, to put it out. And this woman come in, she says, "What are you doing down there?" She says, "Oh, we dropped something. I think a button came off of my dress or something. They were going down there looking for that."
It wasn't proper for women.
No, you never heard. Oh, if any older person saw you smoking, no, they were scandalized.
Really?
Yeah. So, but I never did pick it up.
Well, that's the same nowadays. It's nothing. And the same with language.
Oh, nowadays they even have to practice being married.
Yeah.
They have to practice living together if they can get along. Oh my, times change. Well, that's about my whole life.
Yeah. Well, when you were in your 20s was in the 30s, which was what they call the Great Depression in America. Was it real bad times? Do you remember it? being moved back?
Yeah, that's when we got married. That's why we didn't have money to go on a trip, because my husband, his mother saved the money. But you know, Jimmy got it when she died. But he supplied everything. When anything needed to be fixed in the house, he bought a refrigerator after we got married, but it belonged to Mary and Carrie and the whole family just as much as it belonged to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine. It belonged to everybody. Everything he got, you know, he always supported his mother and his sisters and brothers when they were going to school. He gave like I said, he wasn't even tall enough to reach the tables. He used to sort out screws and different kind of elbow pipes and things like that they had down there at what they called Kelly and Jones, but now they called it Walworth.
So,
but he used to sort out, huh?
I remember Uncle Jimmy worked down there.
Yeah, well, everybody in Greensburg almost worked there. That was about the biggest and only place to work. There were still people working on the railroads, and there were carpenters and people that were building houses and things, but most people got jobs like my father did from the railroad. He went to work for Kelly and Jones, and
so you didn't get to go on a honeymoon anywhere?
We went to Erie, we went to Walworth, Detroit. We went to Detroit, and we went on a nice boat across the river to New York, to Canada, you know.
The lake?
Yeah. And one of those lakes that were in like Detroit, Michigan, which one of those lakes goes down into Michigan, then you could get on a boat and go ride across to the other side, which was Canada, I think.
Did you drive up there?
Yeah. Oh.
You had a car?
Yeah.
You remember what your first car was?
Ford.
Ford?
A Ford Touring. Oh, I didn't tell you about when we got married. So this was an open touring car that my husband had. And everybody knew we were going to get married, you know. And we had all the plans made and everything. So my dad had that garage over there already built. And a bunch of my husband's friends, he didn't know about, I don't know if he knew about it, but everybody else knew about it, but I didn't. I don't think my husband knew about it either. But he had his touring car in the garage over there, and these guys all went and fixed it up with just married and this, and I don't know what all they tied on the back of it, everything. And while we were in church getting married, they brought that touring car up beside the church, and when we came out of there, two guys got me on both arms and took me over and put me up on that touring car and rode all around town.
While you were standing up?
No, sitting down.
Yeah.
No, we were sitting down. And it was all decorated up. And, but it was something. I know one other person did the same thing, but not too many people, but that was something. I don't know if anybody at that time, that was a long time ago. I was 21 and my husband was 29. I don't remember if anybody had pictures of it, even if they had cameras to take pictures with it.
So you've never seen pictures of your wedding? No?
Oh, I have my wedding picture on the table in there, as far as that goes. I have that. I had a whole bunch of wedding pictures and I gave them away, and I guess people threw them away then. I know. I gave almost all the relatives pictures that were taken in the studio. Graphic studio. Regular photographers.
Okay.
And I have one on the table in there.
Yeah, you and
Me and my husband. Mhm. Yeah, it was really something.
Well, did any of your relatives or anybody in the family have to go off in World War II?
Yeah, Hank. Hank was in, well, Mike was in the Navy. Louis was in the Korean. But Hank, oh, he was real big. He came with, I don't know where he was stationed, but on Palm Sunday, I thought maybe your dad might have told you about it. I have pictures, but they're put away upstairs somewhere. Where he was stationed, he was a pilot of, what do you call those fighter planes? B something, I forget.
B-17?
Something like that. And he was he was coming here from where he was stationed, his base, and he told everybody on Palm Sunday, everybody on this hill went up there to that field, back to the schoolhouse. There didn't used to be houses there. It was just Knepper's Field and another name that they called those two fields there.
Schoolhouse right up here?
Up here, and people used to go up there, huh?
7th Street School?
Yeah, but up in back here, the whole way up there. Your dad knows about that. That Knepper's Field, and I forget what's the other one. And then people used to go up there and play ball. They played football, young kids. They'd pick up teams and go up there, and your dad too used to go play football and baseball, and had a lot of games up there.
He did something with the airplane or something? No?
He was piloting wherever he was based, and he knew he was going to go overseas. So he piloted the plane up around there. Everybody knew, and he tilted his wings. And where he must have gone over some trees, maybe. If he came down low across some trees and he picked up leaves underneath there. But when he came up here and he was tilting his wings, those leaves all fell down. Everybody thought he was, it was a signal that he wanted to give us. But he said, no, he said those were just things that collected under there when they went over those trees. And then when he tilted, I'm telling him about the Palm Sunday when Hank came up here with his plane. Everybody went up there to see, but we didn't see him.
Was it a real big bomber plane?
Yeah. And he was going over to England. And he was in England, and he would write us letters, and he would say things, boy, did we go to town over Germany. That's what he would say. And then this one time, they got shot down.
He did?
And we didn't hear from him for a long, long time. And my father used to sit in the porch and cry. He said, he's shot down, he's probably hurt. He's laying...
Brother Hank, right?
My brother Hank. But my father used to sit in the porch there, because... he was taken prisoner.
Yeah.
They shot the plane down and took the crew prisoner. And they couldn't write us or tell us. And we thought maybe he was laying someplace hurt and dying. And my father used to sit on the porch there and cry. And, but then finally he did write to us and told us that he had been taken prisoner along with his crew. Or somebody let us know, whether it was the Red Cross or somebody, that he was all right. He was all right. And then we used to ask him, what did you do? Well, how did they treat you? And he says, oh, they treated us good, because he was, he reached his status. His rank, yeah. He was past the, I think he was a lieutenant already. He was a lieutenant already. He says, no, they treated us good because they were officers, maybe privates and, lower rank. Go down the steps. And so, he says, no, they treated them good, but all they did was play cards all day and maybe work puzzles but we didn't know where he was, if he was dead or alive there for over a month. We have to leave that open because Sam goes down there to go out to his yard. Just so he don't go down. That's about it, Tommy.
Well, you can sit here with Sean.
That's all right. See, the dog door's there. He could go through there. But there's not enough room on that top step when he goes out there because he's so big. You know, if there was a little landing there. So on account of that, we leave the door open so he can go down. You know how that dog door is down there.
Yeah.
You helped to make it, didn't you? Oh, no, Danny did.
No, I wanted her to sit here because I'm sure she could think of things that I'm not asking. Like when we were talking about earlier.
Oh, I told him everything since I was 6 years old.
Oh, good.
And now I'm up to the part.
You're done already?
Well, I'm up to the part where my brother was in England stationed and he went over bombing Germany and, you know, he got shot down, him and his crew. You know what happened to one of the guy, none of them got hurt. The plane was shot down so it couldn't fly anymore, so they had to be down. But one guy out of the crew, I think maybe he was trying to jump out with the parachute and somehow it didn't work and he was banging, his head was banging against the plane the whole time the plane was going down. He was the only one that was badly hurt. And Hank still had his parachute. He had somebody make his wife a slip to wear under her dresses. And he had someone draw, he was in Japan at the time, he had someone draw pictures. And that's what that one picture is over there, that's why I'm so attached to it. That's, was painted in Japan, and I don't know what scenery it is there. But that's painted on a part of his parachute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I'm so attached to it. Yeah, part of his, he had...
He didn't actually parachute out there. They went down.
No, they went down with the plane, because he was a pilot. He didn't want to leave his plane. But this other guy, I don't know if he... Oh, yeah, the dog's food and water's in there. I don't know, with garbage and everything. Yeah, he could bite on a pretzel. Oh, you know what else I have in there? I don't know if anybody likes them. There's, I forget what the name is. Oh, they're some kind of crackers. Came to me, I would just open that door so that Sam can go down there if he needs to go. But, boy, you should have been in here. Your ears would have been ringing.
Why?
I've been talking and talking.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wasn't here.
Well, I told him everything about my whole life. I don't know what else there is to talk about.
Well, let's see.
What are you going to play that on then? You're going to put it on your TV and listen to it?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is make copies of it and...
Give one to Vincey. Maybe he'll write an
I'm
article.
going to make one to... I'm like, this is something to keep for... so that I can give it to my grandkids
Oh.
and pass it on.
If you give Vincey a copy of it, then he might write an article on, because he wrote one for Uncle Jimmy. He
I
wrote
remember that one.
one about his dad or something, and I know he did a couple of good ones, more
You
than.
still have that article from, that he wrote about Uncle Jimmy?
Yeah, I have it in a drawer upstairs. And there was a niece of mine, my brother Tony's daughter, had a dog. It was something like this. And that dog, for some reason or other, it died, and she was so attached to it. You know what she did? She did a memorial for him across the, it was about this big. I don't know what I did with it. It had a picture of the dog up here and real nice write-up. And I must have put it away somewhere because it was a nice thing. usually people don't do. And not all of my brothers and sisters got one, but I did. And I know I wanted to say, but I can't think where I put it. And
Were your parents from Greensburg?
they were from Italy, really.
Did they come over from
Yeah,
Italy and live in
yeah.
Greensburg?
My mother had a brother who lived in Jeanette, and he was over here, and he got a job. And I told him all about it. You'll hear it on the thing when he plays it. And he got a job, and he saved up money. He had 3 sisters, my mother and 2 other sisters. And he heard of some people that were coming from Italy, and he sent money over there for them to bring the 3 sisters over.
I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it was when, what year.
No, I don't know if my brother, my
You were
sister,
born in 1910. And
Yeah.
you were, let's see, do you know how long your parents were?
I think my mother must have been about 16 or 17.
When she got married, or when she had?
When I was born, she was about 17.
Okay.
I think when she came from the old country, she was 16. And she lived with her brother and his wife until my dad and her got married. But they lived in Jeanette, and then her brother moved up to Waterbury, Connecticut, and then he died up there, and his wife died. And they have a family there. Different ones from our family have been up there to visit them. And they went, my mother went whenever her brother died, but I
There
had
were
no.
Mr. Rouse's parents from Italy also?
Yeah, they were from a different area of Italy, though.
They weren't from Church of
No, they were from a place, it's Riccia, if you ever see a map of Italy.
Riccia.
Yeah, that's where they were from. And it wasn't too far away from where my parents' people were.
So they came over, his parents came over too. Your husband's parents
My husband's father,
came over.
I don't know about his, if he married over here probably, or if he got his wife from over there, I don't know, but that generation. But that's what they did when anybody came, they stayed with the people they knew. If they had any relatives or anybody they knew that had left Italy and come over here, they always went to stay with them. And my mother-in-law, my husband's mother, she had all the rooms upstairs. I told Tommy she had 7 children, and her husband was only 38 years old, and he died. She had 2 daughters, 5 sons and 2 daughters. They didn't have all these benefits for widows in those days like they have now. And she went to politicians to try to get some help, and they said, well, because she owned the house. They had bought this house. This house was just built for a couple that was going to get married, and the woman turned around and married somebody else. So the house wasn't exactly finished yet, but the biggest part was done. So it just happened that my husband's father and mother were looking for a place to move to, and they
And you
found.
bought this house from them?
No, I inherited it.
Oh, yeah.
Because my husband was, he had an older brother,